Ryan Zimmerman 0 for 2 so far tonight.
I said 5-game series, of course. After game 4, it'd be down to a 3-game series, but what a pitching matchup we will have from here on in.
Oh, yeah. We're in for a couple of dandies. Rematches. Cole and Scherzer tomorrow. Strasburg and Verlander in game 6 back in Houston. This hasn't been the case for a while, not since 1996, as the road team won each of the first 4 games of a World Series. As Zimmerman sends a ball well hit out to right, but Springer's there for it. There's one away. I think it's worth kind of bringing up again the fact that with all the superstar pitchers that have already worked in this series, the guy that's been the most effective was Jose Urquidy.
Boy, he sure was effective. A terrific outing for Urquidy as he throws just 67 pitches and comes up with a great effort. 2 hits, 5 innings. He didn't walk a batter and struck out 4. And he faced just 17 hitters in this game tonight. Terrific start. His first big league start, just the 3rd time a Mexican-born pitcher started in a World Series game.
0-1 the count to Victor Robles. He's got the different colored kicks going tonight. And there's a base hit.
Well, he's had a good game. A couple of terrific catches in center field, and now sporting those fancy kicks. He gets a base hit. His first hit. Here's 1 for 3 tonight.
One out, one on for Yan Gomes, who has doubled tonight. That base hit just the 5th of the night for the Nationals. Same start time tomorrow, just after 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for Garrett Cole and Max Scherzer Part 2.
Cole was out taking batting practice before the start of this game, and he was really serious about it. I mean, he was working hard, bunting several pitches, having real good focus, and he's a ball player. He is really, and you know, for that matter, so is Max Scherzer. They're 2 terrific competitors, and we're in for a good one tomorrow night.
Ball and a strike. Two balls and a strike to count to Yan Gomes. Urquidy went 5. Josh James a 1/3 of an inning. A terrific bailout 2/3 by Will Harris. And now Rondon in the 7th.
Harris did a great job of bailing out Josh James, who had a couple of walks in his abbreviated outing. But they've got so many different looks down in their pen, and A.J. Hinch has talked about this throughout the series, how he always wants to give the hitters a different look and don't give them an opportunity to face the same type of pitcher in back-to-back at-bats.
As Drupal Cabrera waiting on deck to pinch hit next in the pitcher's spot. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes to Yan Gomes. You know, it's in looking for a silver lining to a lopsided score for the Nationals tonight. It does remove the temptation to use Daniel Hudson or Sean Doolittle. And if given the choice, I mean, Dave Martinez would like to have a closer game, and he'd like to be able to use those guys. However, There's a 7-run differential on the scoreboard now. You try to finish out with your non-prime relievers, and you've got Doolittle and Hudson with another day's rest. And with the travel day, that'd be 3 days, ready for Game 5 tomorrow.
Yeah, which gives you the possibility of extended outings for both Hudson and Doolittle. Daniel Hudson might be able to give you 2 innings, and maybe Doolittle can give you a 5-out performance. You don't have to cover as many innings out of that bullpen, and all predicated on just how far Max Scherzer can get in the game.
Yeah, I'll be really curious to see if the Astros' approach against Scherzer is the same tomorrow as it was in Game 1 in Houston, where they were exceedingly patient with kind of a sub-goal in the back of their minds to try to pull as much out of him as possible and get into that bullpen as soon as possible.
Yeah, the Astros did the same thing against Steven Strasburg in Game 2.
And to left field. Brantley ranges over to put it away, and that's the second out of the inning. Well, through the first couple of games of the World Series, the tops of the rotation, Cole and Verlander, Scherzer and Strasburg, nobody was lit up, but it didn't turn into that classic Mickey Lolich kind of 1968 World Series performance we thought it may.
Yeah, the starters gave up more hits than innings pitched, and that's really unusual given the seasons they're coming off of, and 4 home runs surrendered. That's pretty surprising, but you can bet it'll be a different story second time around for all 4 of those starters. Brett Strom with another quick visit to the mound. Steven Strasburg, boy, he really used his changeup very effectively in that start in Game 2. And he threw a side session today. There was some speculation he might be available in the bullpen, and Dave Martinez said no, he's going to start right on his regular rest.
That would be Game 6. Yeah, then there's all kinds of possibilities you could kick around in your mind's eye for a Game 7 should it be needed.
I think the Astros are much more comfortable now given what Zach Greinke did in his start for a possibility of him starting in Game 7.
Ball and no strikes to the pinch hitter is Drupal Cabrera. One and one.
Cabrera had 2 hits in the game last night, had a single in the second, a double in the 5th. 2 for 4 in that game a night ago.
Went around and it's a ball and 2 strikes now. There's only been one player on both rosters combined that hasn't gotten into a game yet, and that's Brian Dozier of the Nationals. Veteran player with pop, former All-Star. I mean, is this the kind of opportunity, if you're managing the Nationals, do you want to give him a World Series at bat, just give him something to do here so it doesn't feel like he's wasting away?
I don't know if that's top of the list for Dave Martinez right now. He knows his players and he knows what he has to do. He's got to keep Howie Kendrick and Cabrera sharp, make sure they get their opportunities. And I would expect Cabrera to be back in the lineup at second base for the game tomorrow night.
I mean, there was a chance that, pending the physical evaluation of Kurt Suzuki today, there was a chance that Brian Dozier was going to be listed as a backup catcher at some point in this series.
Yeah, and the possibility of him being, well, he was certainly the 3rd catcher in an emergency situation, but they have Roddy Reed here. He's not on the active roster, but if they had to put Suzuki on the IL, they would have activated Reed. Boy, that rocked the catcher right there, knocked Chirinos back on his heels. Boy, the catcher's equipment certainly has improved over the years, and Chirinos chooses to use that hockey-style mask, but this catches him square on the face mask and put him back on his heels. Concussions have become a very important aspect of all the baseball players. They do a great job now of having baseline tests for the players in spring training and making sure anytime there's any doubts of concussion, they check the players. They have a regular list of questions that they go through to make sure they understand where they are, who they are, and what they're doing. Not the case when I played.
I was going to say, they just said, "You okay?"
Smelling salts and go get them.
I mean, that's the kind of foul tip that, and I'll say it on your behalf, in your day, that puts somebody on his back for at least a couple minutes. Makes it pretty convenient when you forget to pay for a check, though, doesn't it? Hey, I took a lot of shots to the mask.
Absolutely.
Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes with 2 away. Runner goes from first, and there's ball 4. So Cabrera draws the pinch hit walk, and that puts runners at first and second with 2 gone. And it brings A.J. Hinch out with the hook in his pocket. They're going to want Brad Peacock here to try to snuff out this mini flame in the 7th.
Yeah, you don't take anything for granted in these games in the World Series, and a little bit of a concern here. So 2 runners on, 2 outs, and he'll go right to Brad Peacock.
Another pitching change, and we'll be right back. Brad Peacock has been summoned to try to close things down in the 7th and extinguish a little problem. Runners at first and second. Yes, there's a 7-run lead on the board for the Astros, but as Buck mentioned, A.J. Hinch not taking anything for granted.
Peacock came into the game in the 6th inning in last night's game. At that point, it was a 4-1 game. He struck out the first batter he faced, the pinch hitter, Gerardo Parra. Then he walked 2, and he was out of the game. Now he's got to deal with the leadoff man, Trey Turner,
who has been quiet tonight to the tune of an 0 for 3. First and second with 2 gone. Brad Peacock was one of the Astros' real pitching heroes in the 2017 World Series. He was terrific in the second half of that season after a couple of mechanical adjustments that we documented last night. Drafted by the Nationals. Interestingly enough, last night's game was just the 2nd time he'd ever pitched in this ballpark. Ball and a strike, the count to Trey Turner. Brad Peacock has actually gone through quite a lot off the field this year. Very close with his dad, who retired from his job a number of years ago to follow Brad around and be with him everywhere he pitched. And his dad had triple bypass last week and is recovering, unable to be here in person at the World Series, but watching every moment on television. Three and one.
This is not what the Astros had in mind coming in the bullpen. The issue of the walks late in the ball game. They have walked 3 to this point, and all coming from the 6th inning on. And you're in the heart of the order of the Nationals.
Full count now. You can always tell how experienced the fans are behind home plate when they don't flinch at the foul ball into the screen. If they flinch, it means they haven't sat there very often.
Yeah, but it's a natural reaction if you haven't experienced that feeling. That ball shooting right back towards you. Watch the reaction of those fans in the back. A lot of people dodging and ducking.
Full count to Turner. A smash foul. Lone run of the night for the Nationals came on the RBI single by Anthony Rendon in the 6th, which at the time made it a 4-1 deficit. An Alex Bregman grand slam later, and it's an 8-1 game. Turner shoots that one to first. Great layout play by Gurriel, who beats him to the bag. Everything going the Astros' way in Game 4.
What a play by Gurriel. We had mentioned that he's a former third baseman. He plays it just like a third baseman. He knocks it down and then gets to his feet, fully aware that Trey Turner can fly. Gurriel keeps this ball on the infield and then pops to his feet and races to the bag just in time to retire Turner.
On a great play at first by a Gold Glove finalist. 2 are left stranded in the Washington half of the 7th.